We are only days away from WWDC, and it seems that day by day we're getting a bunch more updates and kind of leaks of what's to be expected at WWDC, so let's talk about them, as I think this is shaping up to be one of the biggest updates to our iPhones, iPads, Macs in a while. Now, for Apple Watch, we haven't heard anything, so we're going to skip right over watchOS, as well as tvOS, although Apple usually brings some quality of life improvements to both of those, and we'll definitely see what that may be, and some of the iOS features will also be reflected on watchOS, but we haven't heard exactly which ones are going to come over and all of that, so we're mainly going to focus on iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, and a little bit of visionOS, as we do have some leaks about visionOS 2.0. So let's dive right in. We're going to go right with the right off the list. Apple Maps is going to gain the ability to have custom routes and topographical maps. So this is something we kind of saw with the Apple Watch Ultra with the topographical map, as you can essentially see the elevation and everything from your Apple Watch Ultra, but you can't do that on your iPhone using the native Maps app, but now you'll be able to do so, which will definitely be nice if you're looking to go on a hike or something and want to see how elevated an area is or how low it may be. You'll be able to now see all of that data from your iPhone app. Apple Music is now going to also have the ability to auto-generate playlists and have smarter song transitions. So, personally, I've been a big fan of the crossfade feature that they added, but knowing that Apple will be able to kind of implement on that and make it a lot smoother will be even nicer. And I can't believe that I even have to say this in 2024, but we are finally getting a calculator app on the iPads, and it's going to come with a bunch of new features, partially because of the fact that it's being brought over to the iPads. We're going to have a sidebar with the ability to have the history, which will keep track of all those recent calculations you have to do, because personally, I don't know the amount of times I've had to redo a calculation that I might have done 5 minutes ago because I needed it again and I cleared it, or I had to do multiple calculations and I just couldn't see exactly what that was. It's also going to have an improved interface to convert units. So right now, I believe the only way to convert units is by using Spotlight Search, so you'll be able to go ahead and go into the calculator app and have this icon that'll help you essentially convert units over, which will be very useful instead of having to ask Siri or using Spotlight Search. It's also going to be integrated with the Notes app, which is something I think is going to be very useful, as it'll have the ability to essentially, like, if you're handwriting a note or something, kind of read that and then translate it to numbers and say it's 82 or whatever the case may be. But I am kind of curious to see if that one actually does come forth at the event or not, just because of the fact that these are rumors and we don't know anything set in stone. Now, Calendar is also going to get deeper integration with reminders, so I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see reminders going away and Apple kind of bringing in to similar to how Microsoft does it, where it's all in kind of one app. And personally, I'm for this change, but I'm also not for this change, as I have Calendar for all my appointments and stuff, and then I have reminders for things that I want to stay on my iPhone, as my calendars can easily get lost in my notification center, whereas my reminders stay on my lock screen all the time. But it will be very interesting to see if they do kind of merge the apps, if they keep that functionality of keeping it where it was. There's also going to be some updates to CarPlay, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, as we're going to have new accessibility options. So if you're deaf and are hard of hearing, you'll be able to get an alert that says there's a siren, you pull over and such. Now, we're also going to see a major revamp to Control Center, which the last time we saw one with iOS 11, so we are definitely long overdue for one, as we had the same Control Center now for 6 years, as it's going to have an updated interface. We're not quite sure exactly what that updated interface would be, but it would include a revamped music player and improved controls for HomeKit. So right now, if you have Apple HomeKit in your Control Center gets kind of funky. I know mine is definitely very long and very kind of clunky to find stuff when I quickly need to find something, which defeats the whole purpose of Control Center. Fitness is also going to be overhauled for iOS 18. I'm also kind of curious to see if Apple is going to name it Fitness on the Apple Watch as well, and just kind of tie it all in to the iPhone, the Fitness Plus subscription and all that, just because right now it's still named Activity on here, which is what it's been since the day the Apple Watch came out, but we'll have to see. We're also going to get a new Scenes function in Freeform, which will essentially make it easier to navigate the boards, and you can set specific areas to kind of black out, which will be nice. But as someone who honestly hasn't used Freeform in a while, I definitely do think these are worthwhile upgrades, but not a lot of people I think are going to benefit from them just because of the fact that I don't know a lot of people who use Freeform. But hey, if you're an avid Freeform user, let me know with a comment down below, because I definitely would like to know what you use it for. Now, Health is also going to get some new features powered by AI, but we don't know exactly what that might be. I think it just might be kind of reworking Apple's articles that are in the health app to just help you understand the data more. Because right now it just gives you a very basic understanding, saying this is blah, like this is what it is. I do believe they should kind of maybe have AI analyze the data and kind of be like, hey, you're doing good, or hey, maybe get checked out by a doctor, kind of like that. But it will be nice. Now, home screen is also going to get an upgrade, as you'll have the ability to place app icons anywhere, which I think is going to be good and bad. I do believe in the beginning a lot of people aren't going to be used to it, just because of the fact that you're going to be able to have multiple app icons, which you can do now, but the average person will accidentally have 2 app icons and not really understand why that is. And you'll also be able to change the color of apps. So many apps do have it built in iOS, which is definitely very nice. But now that you'll be able to natively change apps and not use shortcuts, I can definitely see a lot more people using this. Now, Messages is also going to get a big upgrade featuring RCS, which is something that if you text Android users or, green bubble people, you'll have the ability to be able to be encrypted and also send photos and have them look normal, which is definitely something we need. And it's also going to have suggested replies, custom emoji, message recap, and even new tap back icons, as I mentioned earlier this week in my short. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on a video or a short where I talk about whether it's an iOS 18 or really whatever. But make sure you're subscribed for those. And now Photos is going to have AI brought in. Safari is going to have new browser assistant similar to that of Brave and Arc. That'll allow kind of being like, hey, you frequently visited these sites and all of that such, which is definitely going to be nice to have. And settings is going to be revamped across the board, which I definitely think is going to be nice, because right now it's a little clunky, everything's kind of been the same way it's been for a while. And Apple has just kind of been like, yeah, we're just going to keep stuffing stuff in here and, hope that the user can find it. But I know all the time, like, I show people a setting that's, buried away under accessibility, and they're like, why is that an accessibility feature? When everyone would have it turned on if they knew about it. And we're also getting a smarter Siri, and this is something I'm so excited for, because if you're an avid Siri user, or if you have HomePod, or really just, use Siri for anything, you know that Siri is not always the smartest, and it's going to be powered by AI, most likely OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is definitely going to be a very nice upgrade, as it's going to make Siri a lot smarter, and I know a lot more people are going to be inclined to use it. And we're also going to get a passwords app. So Keychain is still going to be there, but it's going to be its own separate app, similar to that of 1Password or LastPass, as it's going to be much easier to user control, and it's also going to have, a few added features now that it's no longer buried in settings, which is going to be very nice. As it's definitely very clunky and kind of buried now as is, but it will be very nice to see this change when it comes. But overall, these features are definitely very, very interesting, and we'll have to see what comes out on Monday, so make sure you're subscribed, as I'll have a full hands-on and in-depth look at everything that they announced at the event of all the softwares, and there will be no hardware, so it won't be about that. But make sure you're subscribed for that, and if you want to hit the notification bell and like while you're down there, I'd appreciate that as well. And I want you to remember, today's a good day to make a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.